Hi, this is Steve Hopkins, your head coach with Jordan River Group. And today I just wanted to introduce a fundamental question that I think often gets lost or missed. And we just deal with the consequences of not identifying and dealing with the question. And the question is, this magic question is, do I want what they want? Or conversely, do they want what I want? It doesn't really matter. But that's the question. And so often we don't really scrub this question down enough to be able to avoid the consequences of ignoring it. And what are some of those? Some of those consequences when we have a disconnect between what you want as a leader and what your team or a particular individual on your team wants is a discord. At the very least, them being unhappy and not fulfilled. They may still work for you, but there could be a little bit of begrudgingness, or they might not even identify it. They could just say to themselves, I'm not feeling engaged. I'm not feeling inspired. But more seriously, it could be attendance problems, could be even some team infighting, some gossip starting, some undermining behavior that kind of kicks in, all the way to the end of the spectrum, which is flat out stop working, getting kind of working the system in the company, attendance issues, taking extra time off, things like this. To any way to disengage and avoid the conflict that's there, which is, I don't believe in what you're doing. I don't want what you want. I don't want to participate in what you're asking us to participate. All those things are part of the same equation. And we end up just dealing with that as a problem, as opposed to saying, and I believe on a weekly basis, it's great to say, do I want what they want? And so let's just rifle through 6 quick things here. These are great things I think you can pay attention to and help you process this. And the first one is just validate what you want. All right, just go through the process of validating, being clear to yourself. I can promise you, if you can't do this, you're not going to be clear to the people around you that you're trying to lead. So it's a great process, great step. Just validate that. And then discover, number 2 is discovering what they want, okay? And again, no assumptions here, right? We've got to do this work of inquiry and finding out in the context of what we're talking about, what particular project or strategy, what we're talking about, what do they want, all right? Third step is where leadership kind of kicks in as well, and that is emphasizing with what they want. So really kind of understanding. Doesn't mean you have to agree, doesn't mean you have to change your mind, but we do want to arm ourselves with the information about why they actually want what they want, and who is this person, and maybe what are some of their reasons for wanting something different. That's going to get you ready for the all-important 4th step, which is to influence their priorities. All right? Again, this isn't about compromising yourself. This is just about doing a better job at connecting the dots and understanding what else needs to be done with your team to help get them on board with what you feel is already a critical priority. All right? The next step is when we start getting into some tough work, and I would like to call this compromise cutoff. All right, so the 5th step, the compromise cutoff, and that's where we can put up with a little bit of opinionation, a little bit of disgruntledness, sometimes even some time to help that influence process work its magic, okay? But there's a compromise cutoff, and this is where I think a lot of leaders go wrong, and they deal with compromise all the time. All right, and this is not easy work for sure, but at some point you have to surround yourself with the team members that are prepared to engage in the priorities that you've decided, right? And so not doing that, and not doing that to the fullest of their capability, anything short of that is a compromise, and you need to decide when and where that compromise cutoff is. And then the last step is just go and do work, right? Let's execute. And the reality is here, we're going to execute with them or without them. And that sounds brash and harsh, but we wouldn't do this in any other scenario. Imagine going into a locker room of a football team and everybody's ready to get their helmets and gear on, and one person wants to wear a different uniform. It sounds silly, doesn't it? But that's what we're dealing with here, right? And we just wouldn't stand for it after we've gone through this process, after we've really gone through the 6 steps, especially the first 3 or 4. All right, so I just want to encourage you, take that to heart. The $52 million question, if I could call it that, for 52 weeks out of the year is, do they want what I want? I look forward to seeing you on the other side of the river.